Hello, my name is Ermin and I'm here with Flat Money. And today I'd like to talk to you about ETH. So we think that ETH, the value of ETH, how ETH is used, the utility of it, is actually really important, especially now since we've made the switch to the proof of stake. Because at the end of the day, that's what's securing the Ethereum network. I'll talk a little bit about the history of ETH, how it used to be used, especially with users, the ICO days, the first initial dApps, and how that's kind of evolved over time, and the role that USDC or stablecoins have started to play within DeFi, especially in how that's impacted the Ethereum network, and kind of what we can do better, some of the risks, and what we can do better going forward. But one of the questions I really like to ask, because this is always interesting for me, and people sometimes feel very passionately about this, is ETH money? So I'd like to get a show of hands from anyone here who thinks that ETH is money. Got a lot of hands. A few people with their hands down. Okay, that's most of the people. Let's go the other way around. Who thinks that ETH is not money? Ooh, we've got a couple of contrarians there. Okay. Well, this is like the consensus basically, within Ethereum that, most of us do believe that ETH is money. And maybe the question to ask is, what makes good money? What are the sort of good attributes of money? And some of the things, classic things like, is it durable? Is it portable? Is it divisible? And crypto assets in general, have this attribute by default, which is great. As we sort of go down the list there, it's like store of value. And actually, you could apply this to many different tokens and assets. And actually, there are many legitimate crypto assets now that do have, a store of value and are valued on chain. But as you go down this list, you start to look at the unit of account, the medium of exchange. What are crypto natives transacting in? What do they want to get paid in? When you do the denomination of your, the assets and the services and the applications, in what units are you thinking? So, just going back in time a little bit, going back to the ICO boom days, a lot of projects raised a lot of money and they're mostly raised in ETH. So this is really great. Through 2017, ETH was going up in price. The treasuries were looking really good. The runways were looking long. And the early stage applications, and this is Augur, the first predictions market that went live on Ethereum network. And you can see like everything is denominated in ETH, the estimated cost, the fees, the limit prices, everything is priced in ETH. And this was the norm back in those days. And of course, this was great, during the early 2017 ICO boom. ETH price was going up, everything was looking rosy. And then of course, the ICO bust came. And at that time, things were not looking so good. A lot of people lost a lot of money, but a lot of projects that were funded with ETH and stayed in ETH, their runways dwindled, and many of them couldn't even launch their projects. This is also a problem for the applications that had ETH integrated. It wasn't a great user experience to see the value of your assets decline so rapidly. And then, of course, the rest is history. DeFi summer, the winter, and I don't know what we call this next cycle, but if we called it this, that would make me pretty happy. But the point is, there's a lot of volatility in ETH, and people want to have control over the volatility of their assets, and they want to decide, when they want this sort of volatility and when they don't. And that's really what was the catalyst for the rise of stablecoins. And stablecoins really started to, jump up, especially the centralized ones like USDC and USDT. And they saw a lot of use cases coming through. And we started to see the decentralized applications start to integrate a lot more of these centralized stablecoins to improve the user experience. And and even regular people that were using crypto to transact with, there are some people that talk about countries with high inflation, like Argentina, that the crypto natives there, what do they use? What sort of crypto would they like to receive as payment? And usually they're going to come back and they're going to say, well, stablecoins. And even people in this room, all the service providers out here, when they accept crypto payments, what do they want to accept? And usually it's stablecoins. And as a result, we're really seeing the market cap of the stablecoins, rise. And you can compare that against the ETH market cap, and it's up to 35%, I believe, over 140 billion now. And some people are saying that the stablecoins are set to boom even from here. That the stablecoin market cap is going to jump up another 10x. And the thing is, the stablecoin market cap is kind of uncorrelated. It's not directly correlated to the ETH market cap. So you could have this scenario where the value on chain that's being settled and transacted every day is a lot higher than the ETH market cap. There's nothing, theoretically tying them together. And where that could create an issue is really a small portion of that is what's securing the network. So ideally what we should be striving for is to have our assets as they scale, that they also directly scale the security of Ethereum along with it. And of course, with centralized stablecoins, a year ago, I woke up, look at the news, and this was all over the news globally. We had, bank failures, bank run, and a real crisis. And I thought, oh, okay, there's a bank run in the US. That's fine, of course, until I looked at the USDC price and I was in shock. And of course, part of the collateral was in these banks. And, it made me really question everything. This shouldn't happen to USDC. It should have happened to USDT because that's what everyone's talking about, right? And then I came to the sad realization that I'm probably just following the wrong crypto Twitter accounts, and maybe I need to start again. And even with the decentralized stablecoins, where they first started off, you could just mint stablecoins with ETH. It wasn't particularly capital efficient. You put in $200 of ETH to mint $100 of DAI. But this was good in the bull market because ETH is going up in price, your collateral is safe, but not so good in the bear market where you're basically about to be liquidated. So you either have to close your positions or get liquidated, and this wasn't particularly good for MakerDAO and the DAI market cap. So what they decided to do is say, hey, this doesn't really, there's a lot of volatility here. Again, it's a volatility problem. Why don't we collateralize DAI with real world assets? Now, what does that mean? Well, essentially, an institution can come along and say, hey, we want to borrow whatever, 100 million DAI, and look, we're going to sell it, we're going to put that USD in the bank, we're going to re-lend it to another company for more interest so we can make good money, it makes sense, or we can buy short-term securities and earn more interest. And that's a good thing, it's good for MakerDAO, they can make the revenue, these other institutions can make the revenue, but once you dig deeper, it's like, what are we doing here? And at the top layer, the crypto layer, the DeFi layer, DAI goes out, and eventually DAI comes back in. But once you dig into the off-chain, the TradFi layer, and I'm not going to go through this, but I just want to give you the picture. There's a whole lot of custodians, trustees, a lot of flows, underneath all this. And then, the question is, what does this look like? And you've got the DeFi layer on top, and you've got the TradFi layer down the bottom with all of the issues and lack of transparency that comes with that. And I'm not an American. I don't know what to make of all this, but there's some risks, coming along with all this, right? And at the end of the day, Circle, who issues USDC, they have the ability on chain to block any accounts. And then the question is, if the regulatory environment does change, what does that mean for the holders? But even more, what does that mean for the DeFi protocols where these stablecoins are integrated so deeply? And then zooming out, what are we doing? Does it make sense that, if a single bank sneezes that the whole of DeFi catches a cold? Does it make sense that we're so tied and connected when originally we were supposed to be building a system that actually improves on the legacy systems? So if we zoom out, what should on-chain money really look like? What are the properties of money that we should be striving for? It was even in the original .com era, companies were sort of dreaming of creating internet money, and we finally have the opportunity to do it and to do it right. So, for us, it's really about low volatility, but also maintaining or increasing purchasing power over time. Doing that in a decentralized way that cuts off the legacy system and doing it purely on-chain with smart contracts. Can we make it accessible for everyone? L2s are scaling, the fees are coming down. Can we build it on something like Base? And I think that point is really important in the next one, which is, can we have these assets directly secure the Ethereum network? Can we have these assets stake ETH or increase the stake of ETH so they scale together linearly? And of course, what many projects are striving for is really building the new primitives and making sure, well, for us anyway, it's about minimizing external dependencies to be able to do that properly. So I won't go into details about what Flam Money is and Unit, but Unit is essentially a flat coin, which is flat purchasing power over time. But we're backing it 100% with Rocket Pool staked ETH, and we believe this to be the most decentralized liquid staking derivative of ETH that there is available today. And essentially what we've done is we've created a two-sided marketplace. On one side, we have the low volatility of ETH, where we completely strip out the ETH volatility to create the flat coin. And on the other side, we have a perpetual futures market for staked ETH. And what we built out of this is essentially a new primitive that's built on ETH. You take your ETH, which is already fantastic collateral, you stake it, that's the new primitive that's been created, and we convert it into unit where we just strip the volatility. But importantly, we inherit all the decentralization, the staking yield, and the staked ETH that secures Ethereum on top of that. So which direction, there's a lot of presentations here about real world assets, bringing the real world, but there's like a counterpoint to this as well, what we could be building. And of course we have ETH, it's great collateral, on-chain collateral of the internet, and what we've been able to do in the past is reduce the volatility by minting stablecoins. And as mentioned, it's less capital efficient, you still ride the volatility of ETH. It's less than ideal, but hey, we can do that. But then, of course, once we switched to proof of stake, we created new liquid staking tokens that not only secure Ethereum, but are yield-bearing, which is really good. And then we realized, oh, wait, this is great collateral. We can use this collateral to then restake and secure other networks, which is fantastic, still riding the volatility. And at flat money, we've realized, hey, we could actually take the asset, this fantastic collateral, and just remove the volatility out of it. And what you get is like low volatility collateral, and there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to more capital efficiently mint your stablecoin or use that as collateral for restaking. So once again, there's kind of the two camps here. There's a lot of people saying, hey, if you want legitimacy in crypto, you got to go out to the legacy world. You have to go out to traditional finance. We need real world assets to scale Ethereum. But we believe that actually these on-chain derivatives, we've only started scratching the surface. This space is so young. We can build assets that are orders of magnitude better and actually impossible to build on the legacy systems. And this is what we've always strived for. So thank you for listening to the talk. We're Flat Money. We have a booth next to Base, next to the coffee shop. If you're interested in what we're doing, come say hi. Cheers.